Good afternoon. I am Tom for Medievaldragon from Blizzplanet. The Heroes Storm Western Clash tournament will take place this weekend through August 10. BBJ and Khroen from the HeroesHearth eSports team are here today to answer questions prior to the tournament. Hi, BBJ and Khroen.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you talk about what do you do in your daily life when not in front of the computer? Do you work, go to school? What career are you pursuing? Do you play sports, go parties, etc.? Let's start with BBJ.
Right now, I'm pretty much play hops full time, but I try to work out every day. I play with my dogs a lot, and hang out with friends on weekends and stuff.
And for myself, usually I take a lot of time to stream in my free time. But if I'm not doing that, then I'm just either, playing some other casual games with friends, or, sometimes I'm into poetry, so I write a little bit maybe. I also do some Dungeons and Dragons with some friends in my free time. But besides that, it's just, thoughts.
For fans starting to watch esports, what has been your background as an esports player before joining the HeroesHearth esports team? Let's start with Khroen. You have got a lot of experience since 2015.
So when I first started playing Heroes of the Storm, it was for the 2016 or 2015 Heroes of the Dorm, but one of the Heroes of the Dorms. Then after that, with my college, Assumption College in Yukon, we made an amateur team formed together. And after that, I had a little bit of time on 2Art Gaming as an amateur team until eventually finding my way onto Gale Force, which we had a decent amount of success on. I even ended up winning one regional tournament. And then eventually was removed from that team until I found my way onto HeroesHearth with the team that I'm currently on right now.
BBJ?
So I was trying to play competitive League of Legends for a little while. I was a challenger player, but I couldn't really break into the competitive scene. And then I kind of gave up for a while, and I was, going to school while working part-time. And then eventually I found Heroes of the Storm and got pretty high ranked and stuff, and decided to give it another chance and try to, be a top-level player, which maybe some would say I am now.
Okay, Khroen, how do you learn Hanzo, and how do you improve yourself as a Hanzo player in general?
Well, a lot of it's just, taking a lot of time and dedication to trying to learn the hero, always trying to see what I could do to improve. And for me recently, it's been about looking at better Hanzo players, like at Mid-Season Brawl. Two that stood out to me were Rich from Gen G and SCSC from Ballistic. They're very, very strong Hanzo players. So looking towards what they do, what maps they play them on, what builds they go on, what maps, just things like that. It's just a lot of practice and repetition because Hanzo's one of those heroes where you need to, hit those angles. Otherwise, you're not going to be nearly as effective as some of the better players on those heroes.
Some players don't know well how to play Hanzo. When you're playing Hanzo, where does the majority of your damage come from? Auto attacks, abilities? Is he more burst, sustain, or finisher damage?
He's a little bit now of, poke and sustain damage play style. Usually, while positioning myself near a wall so I can jump away if I get in danger. But it's just I'm auto-attacking W, Q. You want to be weaving in your auto-attacks between every ability. So say I might start off a combo with a W, auto-attack, Q, auto-attack. Then my W is back up, and then I'll keep weaving in auto-attacks as well as, stutter stepping, trying to reposition if I need to. Just things like that. It's a lot of just sustained and poke damage unless you see, a really big Dragon's Arrow that you can hit, and then you can try to burst somebody with a Dragon's Arrow and then a W into like an auto attack and a Q. Like there's potential for both ways of playing Hanzo, but traditionally in team fights, it's more of just sustained damage.
What other assassin heroes do you plan to play in the Western Clash, and what do you like about those choices?
Well, there's a variety of different heroes that I play. I mean, I'm known for playing Hanzo as well as, Jaina, Li Ming, Phoenix, Raynor, recently heroes such as that. I think they're heroes that are just very strong in the meta, just having a lot of damage as a, backline carry, and ones that my team and myself play very well with and around.
BBJ? How do you improve so much this phase in particular?
When we first entered the scene, it was my first time playing pro, so it definitely had a lot of nerves in some of those games, but really it's just been, working hard on playing a lot of Hero League, sometimes watching replays myself, see what I can improve on, and then also watching other regions and getting an idea of what kind of stuff they're doing, because supporting is pretty straightforward for the most part, but then you'll see somebody do something that you just either neglected to think of or you just haven't been doing it because you didn't think it was as good as it was, and you kind of learn and adopt these things that the other players are doing.
What heroes do you plan to bring to the tournament?
Supports are kind of weak a bit right now, so we'll probably play whatever the strongest ones emerges to be. It seems like Deckard Cain, Malfurion, and Rhaegar might be like the top three, maybe with Monk as the number 4. So, I'll look to play whatever's strongest, and then maybe throw on some Abathur here and there if the teams let us have it.
Do you make that determination based on the map?
Generally based on the map, our comp, and the enemy's comp. If they're running something that has a lot of CC, then we need to cleanse, so we have to go like a Rhaegar pick. And if we're running something with a lot of CC, then we want more CC. So it's like a Deckard or a Malfurion are pretty good. And then Monk is the best support on a few maps here and there.
Has there been a play in past tournaments that still haunts you to this day? What was it? Both can answer that question.
There was one time in probably, my first big tournament, we were playing in the open playoffs, and, there was a lot going on. It was pretty hectic, and, we were struggling. And somehow I managed to basically die to a immortal circle stun. That'll haunt me for a while.
I think for myself, it wasn't my play specifically, but one of my teammates going to say, Michael, you'd avoid prison and leave it at that.
Right. What is the meta heading to now that healers have been kind of nerfed, some have been buffed in some instances?
It generally seems like before Malfurion lost Ice Block that he was kind of, the go-to because he healed really well, he helped kill stuff really well, and he wasn't really killable. So now the meta is kind of shifting to finding ways to have a healer that is good in other aspects of the game, but also isn't really easy for the other team to kill. So I think that'll be what the meta kind of revolves around, being able to kill the other team's healer while picking a healer that either is survivable and takes long to kill or just isn't killable by the other team's composition.
Your first match in the Western Clash will take place on Friday, August 10. Is it your first time against Leftovers team, or had you played against them before?
It's the first time that we will be playing Leftovers, so it's going to be interesting to see what their approach to the meta is from Europe, because we played a few different European teams. I believe Dignitas we've played, as well as Fnatic and Method, but Leftovers has strengths of their own. It's be interesting to see how that approach, how they bring that approach to the Western Clash.
As a team or individually, do you watch past games of opponents like Leftovers, or to study their highs and weaknesses before the tournament?
Yeah, traditionally before the tournaments, we're going to look at, say, a lot of drafting, things that they're comfortable on, the maps that they like to go to. It's just sort of general preparation that teams will do before tournaments such as that.
Do you know before the tournament what maps you will play in, or are those informed to you on the spot?
We generally have an idea what maps that we are, strongest on. But it does depend, say, on the enemy team as well. Maybe that they are specifically weaker on one map over another, or maybe they're stronger on one map over another. So we have a general idea, but it does lead itself to something that's being able to be adapted over the course of the tournament, depending on your opponent.
According to the Heroes website, you have a 88% win rate as a team. 121 games, lost 3. Is there a particular map that you would rather avoid in the Western Clash, and why?
There's some maps that European teams are historically better on than North America, so we may try to shy away from those a bit, but some of those maps are also maps we're good on, so I think we'll just try to play our normal style, banning the general maps that we don't like and trying to win the maps that we really like.
Which are the best ones for you as a team?
Don't want to, give anything away, but I think yeah.
What is your favorite map, and what about the map mechanics or objectives make it favorable for you to dominate the enemy team?
Just a favorite map in general, outside of competitive or in competitive?
It could be any.
I think I really enjoyed the Towers of Doom mechanic. Like, we see a lot of matches that are arguably some of the best in Heroes of the Storm history on Towers of Doom. Say just recently in Midseason Brawl, the Genji versus Dignitas comeback from Dignitas at that map. Like, you can't just win by killing the core. You have to play well throughout the whole game, and maybe it goes to middle or late game. And one team makes a mistake, the other team builds that momentum. And as soon as you get the momentum on Towers of Doom, then it just leads to, a series of just like amazing plays that you can use to come back. It's a very exciting map in terms of, people spectating it as well as playing it even.
For those that just go into watching esports, what is the current meta?
I mean, I suppose it depends on the region, but I think that there's, in every standard team composition, there's a solo laner, which is kind of just like for wave clear. You see like Blaze, Urel, Dahaka being the main three in that role, as well as, either stun tanks or a Johanna, something that doesn't die very easily. The supports, being like the Malfurion, Deckard, Rhaegar, something like that. For the DPS role, there's usually, at least like one ranged assassin in every team comp, and that depends on if you need wave clear, if you want just more, things that just auto attack the enemy team. Kind of depends. There's like the Hanzos to do that, or there's like the Jaina's that wave clear. And then sometimes, it's going to be something like a Genji or a Tracer, the sort of like very mobile assassin-y hero that teams will look to utilize. But it does depend on the map and what the opponent is drafting and what your game plan is going into it. But that's a very basic explanation of what the meta is.
The latest heroes added to the Nexus were Urel and the Khroen. Had you played as them or played against them in recent tournaments? And how do you prepare as a team for a recently added hero?
Generally, when a hero gets added, whoever's role that is on the team, they generally try it out. They maybe see what other pros are doing with it, and then especially in other regions, and then they kind of figure out where that hero falls on the tiers of the other heroes they play. And then recently, Urel and Deckard kind of entered as pretty strong heroes. Urel being probably the best offlaner, and Deckard one of the top supports. But they've both been recently nerfed, so we may see a drop in priority for them going to this tournament.
BBJ, have you played White Main in the PTR? What do you like about her the most?
I haven't played around with her too much. I just looked at her talents, played a little bit with her in try mode. I think the fun thing about her is the ability to kind of micromanage. You have to, keep heals up on people while making sure you're not running out of mana, and also doing damage to the other team so that you're healing your teammates. So there's, almost no downtime when playing her, and team fights can get really chaotic, and you can definitely see the difference between a skillful white main and someone who doesn't know what they're doing as much.
Do you have any projections or predictions on how white main will perform in competitive and non-competitive play compared to the current healer meta?
I think white main's kind of similar to Ariel, because you don't really heal your teammates much unless you're hitting enemy heroes. So I think white main in competitive probably won't see a ton of play, because if the hero gets poked out and you're not in range of hitting the enemy, then you can't really heal your team up, which is kind of a pretty big deal in Heroes of the Storm. I think, however, non-competitive play, she could see pretty good priority, just because a lot of time the enemy team will just let you hit them for no real reason, so you'll be able to get a lot of value off your AoE healing.
I see in the HeroesHearth website, each player has a blog page. You have now 5,000 followers. You already have a white main first impressions article there. Do you plan to write up a lengthy guide on how to play white main combos or videos, something that might interest fans to follow at your blog?
Yeah, after white main is allowed for this tournament, so after this tournament, when we get back home, I'll definitely start trying her out, see what the best builds are, see what feels good, and then I'll put one out, probably a blog post breaking down, how to get the most out of every ability and which talents to take at which tiers and which situations.
Will you do the same in your blog, Khroen?
Well, white main isn't a hero that I will be playing a lot of because she's a support. I'll definitely check her out and give my thoughts on it as well.
And the recent heroes that you usually play in tournaments, would you write a guide about that?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely looking to put more educational content out specifically onto HeroesHearth.com. Leading forward into the future, there's more that I think I can do. I have a Hanzo guide, but there are some other heroes that I feel as though that I could be very well at teaching and provide some more content.
HeroesHearth eSports was founded in August 22, 2017. How do you feel being a member of this team and becoming the #1 team in this phase?
Well, I mean, it feels amazing, honestly, coming together as an open division team and throughout, less than a year, like rising forward to being the #1 team in North America. It just, it tells a lot of our hard work and motivation, dedication to the game and improving, getting better. I mean, just plainly, like, it feels really good, but our work is not over yet. We need to translate that play as well over to internationals, because the goal is always to be the #1 team in the world. So we still have a long ways of work to go, but we can be proud of our progress so far.
Both can answer this one. Who do you expect to clash against if or when you reach the final bracket, round 4?
In this Western Clash upcoming tournament, I think that the ultimate opponent would be Team Dignitas, a team that's looked extremely strong on an international level, almost even taking Gen G down at the recent mid-season brawl. So it's them who I'll be the most excited to play against and see if we've come far enough to be able to take them down in a tournament setting.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice to play against Dig again. Last time we played against them, we didn't have the best results, but I'm also excited to play against potentially the other European teams like Team Liquid and Method, because their new rosters, I think, are a lot stronger than they were even when we played Method at Mid-Season Brawl. So I think it'll be interesting to see how much they've improved and how much we've improved, and we can hopefully take down some more EU teams.
I think I read at Khroen's blog that no matter what, you are #1 seed. What are your expectations playing at BlizzCon? Wyman might be there, by the way.
Well, moving forward, I think that as long as we, don't slip up, we can be #1 seed North America going into BlizzCon. And that's something that's going to be very exciting for, me, myself, as well as, us as a team. BlizzCon's been something that I've, strongly looked forward to being able to have the chance to play at, because I've missed out on it in the past couple of years. So being able to play at a, that prestigious of an event in front of, North America and the home crowd, it's just ultimately it's like the final goal, really, as a professional Heroes of the Storm player. You want to play at BlizzCon, take home the trophy. That's what it's all about, winning, taking it all.
I have a question from a fan. He wants to know, what is the best headphone when you have a pro?
I mean, it just depends on whatever you personally find comfortable. I think that mostly the headphones just comes down to your head size, because I just kind of put my headphones on, and no matter what, it's going to give me a little dent in my afro, and you just kind of have to deal with it. And if you're strongly looking towards having a headset over just like earbuds or something. So it just depends, because I personally wear glasses too, so I have to find one that's comfortable with my glasses. I use currently a Sennheiser headset, but perhaps, there are other more comfortable or better ones out there. We will see.
What kind of challenges do you expect in this upcoming tournament?
I mean, we've been kind of dominating North America for a little while now, so I think getting the opportunity to play against better teams is always nice for us, but it's also definitely a challenge. We have to play these teams better than we have been in our own region, and we have to just be on top of our game, or else we're not going to beat them.
Khroen?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's always interesting to play against other regions, because you don't really know what they've been practicing or improving on, leading up to that tournament. While we feel very comfortable towards, beating North America, when we play versus the European teams, it's going to kind of be a whole new playing field, and one that we'll have to be able to adjust to on the spot and hopefully look to, keep proving our dominance as a team.
Have you planned out what are you going to do with the prize once you win #1 position?
Well, I mean, I have some school loans to continue paying off, so that probably will be where my winnings will go to, as well as, saving it as much as I can.
Yeah, I mean, most of the money that we make and stuff, I generally try to save, make sure that I have a good future ahead of me, but also probably definitely put away for a bit of a celebration, because it would be a pretty big upset and, great results for us to come in first at this tournament, especially with how strong Dignitas is looking.
How important is communication between each member of your team to win the Western Clash tournament?
The thing about our team is that we're all very different individuals. We all bring something different to the table. We communicate differently. We think of the game differently, but we also come together and agree on how to play out the game. Even if, someone doesn't think it's how we should be played, if it's what we agree on, we all commit to it, and we all just, try to play off each other and synergize well. Thanks, BBJ and Khroen, for the interview. Hope the best to your team. Those listening, check out the links below for the Twitter and blogs. I hope you don't miss watching the Heroes of the Storm Western Clash tournament on August 10 at 9 a.m. U.S. Pacific, 12 p.m. U.S. Eastern.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.